In the 17th century Dutch Republic, a narrator who serves Sophia shares a tale of a time when trade thrived in the city. The narrator explains how the Dutch Republic was captivated by a valuable Eastern flower known as the tulip, a luxury item so precious that it often left people in debt. This flower was a game changer for the people of the Dutch Republic. Sophia is about to marry Cornelis, with the promise of a comfortable life if she bears him an heir. The Mother Superior bids her farewell. In exchange for her sacrifice, Sophia's siblings are sent to New Amsterdam for a better life, and she leaves the orphanage. 3 years have passed since Sophia left the orphanage, and she is now the mistress of Cornelis's house. However, they have not been blessed with children yet, as Cornelis faces some fertility issues. Cornelis is advised to send Sophia back to the orphanage due to their childlessness, but he grants her a grace period of 6 months. Her dressmaker suggests that she keep herself interesting, implying that 3 childless years of marriage might indicate something more about her worth. This means she might get thrown out of the house if she does not deliver a child, so she should keep herself attractive. The narrator, Maria, who serves Sophia, describes this period as one of the best times in her life, as Sophia treats her like a sister. One day, while Maria serves fish, Cornelis grows frustrated because it is the umpteenth time that week. He hints that Maria might be involved with a fisherman. Little does he know that Maria has a lover of her own, Willem, the fish seller. They promise to meet later. That night, the couple makes another attempt to conceive. Simultaneously, beneath the house, Willem sneaks into Maria's room, and they consummate their relationship. Sophia continues her routine as the dutiful wife, tending to her responsibilities by visiting the apothecary and consulting with the doctor. Her visit to the doctor is prompted by a suggestion from her dressmaker, Mrs. Ortwald, who believes consulting a physician about conception is a wise course of action. During her consultation with Dr. Sorg, Sophia expresses her desperation to bear a son for Cornelis. She is motivated by the prospect of securing her position in a life free from poverty. Dr. Sorg, however, employs a method unknown to the unsuspecting Sophia. As their meeting unfolds, Dr. Sorg leads Sophia to a room with a bed. To Sophia's shock, Dr. Sorg begins undressing, and in her astonishment, she reacts by slapping him, cursing him, and hastily making her escape. During a particularly fierce storm, Cornelis fervently prays while Sophia contemplates deeply. As the weather clears, Sophia and Maria venture to the market. Night after night, Cornelis continues his prayers for a successful conception, and they repeatedly attempt to have a child without success. Cornelis decides to commission a painter to immortalize their image. Matthias, a womanizer whom Cornelis has hired to find a suitable artist, searches the art world for talent. Among the artists considered is Jan van Loos, who offers reasonable prices for his work. However, during a studio visit, potential clients find his paintings lacking the desired passion and obsession. Cornelis wants their portrait painted, as it will be his only legacy for having a beautiful young wife, in case they don't have a single child. Determined to have his portrait and Sophia's painted, Cornelis decides to commission Jan for the work. Matthias negotiates the terms on Cornelis's behalf. When Jan arrives at the Sandvoort residence, Maria answers the door, and he proceeds to discuss his plans for the painting with Cornelis. Cornelis, wanting to appear vainer, requests specific details. As Sophia descends the staircase in a striking blue dress, Jan is left in awe of her beauty. He then proceeds to study and sketch the couple for their portrait. Meanwhile, Maria finds herself in the couple's room, trying on Sophia's dresses and jewelry. Sophia, on the other hand, sits for her portrait by Jan. Simultaneously, Willem visits the tulip market, where bidding for tulip bulbs is in full swing, with white tulips being seen as a good investment due to the rising market prices. He engages in bidding to acquire these valuable bulbs and their certification. Back at the Sandvoorts, Jan struggles to concentrate on painting Sophia, as Cornelis keeps interrupting. Jan decides to recreate the pose in his own studio, using a mannequin and Garrett as a model. Sophia initially expresses her reservations about Jan due to his expense, but later that night, she changes her mind and wants him to come back and finish the portrait. Meanwhile, Willem continues his affair with Maria, and softens up to the idea of marriage. He also discovers the certification of the tulips. Jan returns to complete the portrait, and during this time, he realizes he has fallen in love with Sophia. Overwhelmed, he rushes out of his studio. Simultaneously, Sophia leaves her home under a cloak, claiming to be going to Mrs. Overvalt's. Both Sophia and Jan secretly visit each other's homes, leading to a clandestine affair. Maria, aware of the situation, smiles sheepishly. Later, a man's lifeless body with a slit neck is found in the canal. He took his due to his obsession with tulips. Sophia reveals a letter from Jan to Cornelis, in which Jan requests tulips from Cornelis. This intensifies the already complicated situation. Cornelis asks Sophia to take the tulips to Jan, which she does the following morning. When Sophia arrives at Jan's home, she's nervous, and their affair intensifies as they become intimate. Despite their secret affair, Jan continues to work on the portraits of the Sandvorts. Meanwhile, Willem visits the abbess at the orphanage. She shows him around and explains that the girls there are raised to become maids, wives, or novices as they reach the right age. The St. Ursula orphanage is involved in growing tulips, and Willem sells the white bulbs to the orphanage. In the garden, they wander around, and Willem is intrigued by an odd-looking white tulip with a crimson streak. The abbess explains that it's called a breaker, the rarest type of tulip. It appears Mr. Prater has sold the white bulbs at a cheaper price. The abbess asks Willem to pick it, since it's so rare. Willem plants it outside Maria's window. The next morning, Maria, thinking it's Willem knocking, opens the door, but it's someone else. Willem decides to sell his entire fish market to another man. Cornelis plans to spend time with his old friends, as usual, with Sophia, but she calls in sick, so Cornelis goes alone. Meanwhile, Willem continues to visit tulip bidding markets to sell the tulip bulbs, and gives Mr. Prater money for the orphanage. The girls at the tavern become interested in Willem when they see that he's rich. Sophia, feeling rebellious, steals Maria's cloak and goes out. Willem, on his way to the Sandvorts, spots someone he thinks is Maria, and rushes after her. However, he sees Sophia entering another house and kissing Jen, mistakenly thinking that Maria is having an affair. This discovery angers him greatly. Meanwhile, Cornelis goes to play cards with his old friends, and they discuss tulip prices. While Cornelis is away, Sophia is deeply in love with Jan. Jan sketches Sophia in the as they share their life stories. Jan asks about Sophia's family, a subject nobody has ever inquired about before. Sophia reveals that her parents passed when she was young. When the bell rings, signaling Cornelis' imminent return, Sophia must leave and return home. In despair, Willem goes to the tavern, thoroughly drunk and upset. A girl approaches him, attempting to seduce him, but Willem rebuffs her. In the process, the girl steals his money. Realizing what has happened, Willem insults the girl, calling her dirty. One of the girl's brothers intervenes, leading to a scuffle. During the altercation, Willem is pushed into the Dutch Navy, where he will remain for a year before returning. Sophia returns home, but to her surprise, Cornelis has arrived earlier than expected. She discreetly brings back Maria's cloak, which awakens Maria. Sophia rushes up the stairs, trying to create the illusion that she has been at home all day, just before Cornelis discovers her. Timing it perfectly, she slips under the sheets, engaging in their nightly ritual aimed at procreation. The following morning, Maria is confused and frustrated as she hears about Willem's disappearance. Rumors circulate that he has gone to sea, but no one has concrete information. Maria is deeply disappointed, believing that Willem loved her. To make matters worse, Maria discovers that she is pregnant with Willem's child, but he is unaware of this fact. Since Maria is unmarried, she anticipates facing societal shame, with no support from her family. Maria realizes that Sophia might choose to cast her out, but to her surprise, Sophia offers to help her. However, Maria resorts to threatening Sophia, leveraging her knowledge of Sophia's affair as a bargaining chip to prevent Sophia from revealing her pregnancy to Cornelis. The narrator, Maria, expresses regret and shame for resorting to such tactics, but feels she has no other choice. Jan finishes the portrait, and Sophia tells him that Maria knows about their affair, and will tell Cornelis when the time comes. Later that night, Sophia hears a commotion downstairs, and discovers that Cornelis is awake and seems to be in distress. She comforts him, and Cornelis shares his troubled thoughts with Sophia. He tells her about a child being taken from him while sparing his wife, and how another child was taken later, leading him to believe that he's being punished by God. Cornelis feels that he wished to save the child and take the mother, and in return, God punished him by taking both children. Sophia attempts to uplift his spirits, assuring Cornelis that God has forgiven him. In an attempt to bring some joy into the situation, Sophia tells a white lie, claiming that she is pregnant. This news fills Cornelis with happiness, as he sees it as a chance to become a father once more. Meanwhile, Maria, who has been eavesdropping, enters the room with a vase but stumbles, accidentally breaking it. She cries, thinking that the vase was very valuable. Surprisingly, Cornelis doesn't care about the vase and forgives Maria immediately, as he is in an unusually jovial and forgiving mood. Sophia reveals her elaborate plan to Maria, detailing how they can save Maria and escape with Jan. The plan involves Sophia pretending to be pregnant, while Maria conceals her own pregnancy. Sophia intends to give birth in the house, with Maria taking care of the baby. This way, if Cornelis claims the child is his, Maria secures her position, and Sophia can be with Jan. However, Jan and Maria find this plan highly improbable, while Sophia remains confident. Sophia seeks the assistance of a doctor, Dr. Sorg, to stage the pregnancy and have it verified by a real physician. During the act, Dr. Sorg nearly takes advantage of Sophia, but she firmly rebuffs his advances with a slap. Dr. Sorg provides further instructions, emphasizing that Cornelis should not touch Sophia until the child is born, insisting they have separate bedrooms. When Cornelis inquires about the baby's gender, Dr. Sorg fabricates that it's a boy. Sophia forcefully pushes Cornelis out of the room. Dr. Sorg then examines the real pregnant woman, Maria, and asks if they can successfully pull off the plan. He is amazed by the women's determination and resolve. John's completed portrait is presented to the ladies, and over the following days, they continue to act out the charade of Sophia's pregnancy. Cornelis is away on a business trip to Utrecht, but unknown to Sophia, there is another woman looking for him. During this time, Maria experiences morning sickness, so Sophia rushes to her aid. To prevent Cornelis from discovering Maria's condition, Sophia takes Maria's place and pretends to be ill. While Cornelis is away, Sophia and Jan meet at the shore and discuss their plan for escaping Cornelis. They acknowledge the urgency of their situation, as Cornelis is sure to find Sophia eventually. Sophia also opens up about her past, as she reveals that her parents passed away from the plague. However, Jan expresses the need for enough amount of money to make their escape. Jan and Jared attempt to sneak into St. Ursula with the intention of stealing the tulips. However, their plan goes awry when Jared is attacked by a swarm of swans, and Jan is knocked down by the abbess. In the morning, Jan approaches the abbess to apologize for the theft. He confesses his love for a woman, but admits he lacks the financial means to pursue a relationship with her. The abbess listens attentively while she examines the tulip bulbs. During their conversation, the abbess emphasizes the significant value of certain tulip colors. Jan becomes intrigued by the idea of investing in tulips to amass wealth. With the abbess's guidance, he enters the tulip business and begins making bids and purchases at the tavern. The tulip market experiences a frenzy as prices triple within a month, but it's a risky investment, due to the potential for tulip values to plummet. Despite the danger, Jan becomes deeply involved in learning how to purchase the rarest tulip bulbs. Meanwhile, Maria's pregnancy is in its advanced stages, and Sophia takes over the household chores in her place. Jan decides to order a set of tulip bulbs with unique forms and returns to the orphanage, where he negotiates their prices with the abbess. Willem remains missing, causing Maria considerable distress. One day, as Maria returns from the market, she goes into labor. Cornelis is present, and Sophia seizes the opportunity, pretending that she is the one in labor. She urgently calls Cornelis to fetch the midwife. Simultaneously, Jan is making preparations for their escape, including ordering boat tickets. Dr. Sorg arrives to assist the women with Maria's childbirth. He takes the opportunity to question Cornelis about Sophia's symptoms, trying to establish a precedent that suggests Sophia may not survive. Later, Garrett visits the Sandvorts, but he's unsure about what's going on. Cornelis is worried about Dr. Sorg's questions, and pleads with him to prioritize saving Sophia over the baby, just in case. Sophia overhears this conversation at the door and feels guilty for deceiving Cornelis. Maria begins to give birth, and the baby arrives safely. However, Sophia and Maria need to switch places as part of their plan. On the other side of town, Jan returns to the tavern and realizes that the tulip prices are plummeting. He attempts to sell the tulip named Admiral Maria, which Willem named, to the highest bidder. However, it appears that no one is interested in buying it. Dr. Sorg comes downstairs to inform Cornelis that a baby girl has been born. But when Cornelis inquires about Sophia's condition, Dr. Sorg indicates that Sophia did not survive the childbirth. Later, Cornelis enters the room, and Maria is holding the newborn baby. He sees Sophia lying on the bed, seemingly lifeless. Dr. Sorg explains that it's due to contagion, a severe fever, and advises Cornelis not to touch her. Cornelis is furious because he had specifically instructed Dr. Sorg to spare Sophia. He is escorted away as the room needs to be sanitized, preventing him from kissing or touching Sophia, who appears warm. Sophia sheds a tear for deceiving Cornelis. Back in the tavern, the girl, the lowly escort who robbed Willem, initiates a bid at 400, and the crowd becomes frenzied, rapidly raising their offers to 500 and higher. Sophia is immediately placed in a casket, and Cornelis mourns her apparent passing. The casket, with Sophia still alive inside, is taken away in a boat to an unknown destination. Meanwhile, Maria still has the baby and visits Cornelis, who is still grieving. Cornelis asks Maria to call a wet nurse to feed the baby, since the alleged mother has passed. However, Maria is the actual wet nurse, but tells Cornelis that the wet nurse arrived earlier. She attempts to comfort Cornelis by suggesting that it is God's will that Sophia was taken, and that he has been given a daughter. Maria promises to care for the baby as if it were her own, which is the truth, since she is the real mother. Cornelis lovingly takes the baby and names her Sophia, wholeheartedly believing that the baby is truly his. Dr. Sorg charges Jan another fee for the silence of all those involved in this charade. Jan has amassed wealth, but many men are waiting at his house for payments and the tulip bulb. Dr. Sorg instructs Jan to send someone to deliver the money and retrieve the bulb. Jan assigns Garrett this task, and warns him sternly to avoid alcohol and drinking. Garrett goes to fulfill his mission while resisting the temptation to drink. Later, Jan and the woman unlock Sophia's casket and free her. However, Sophia is overwhelmed with guilt and breaks down in tears for what she has done. Jan and the woman stand by, just watching. Back in the Abbey, Garrett successfully arrives and presents the certification to Mr. Debye. The Mother Superior gifts him a bulb of onion. With the certification in hand, Garrett leaves with the money. Meanwhile, Jan and the other creditors eagerly await Garrett's arrival, but to their surprise, he isn't the one who shows up. Jan waits anxiously, growing more uneasy with each passing moment. On the other hand, Sophia contemplates returning, getting cold feet about the plan to escape. Eventually, Sophia decides to leave. Later, Garrett finds himself in a brawl, intervening as a man is being beaten. His heroic act earns him praise, but things take a downturn when he starts drinking. His one and only task is tossed out of the window. Sophia escapes and attempts to return to the old house, draped in black. However, as she comes back, she witnesses Cornelis carrying Maria's baby, marveling at how tenderly Cornelis cradles the newborn. She pauses, contemplating whether to reveal herself or not. After a moment of hesitation, she decides against it. Realizing there's no going back and no clear path forward, she keeps running, throwing away her blue cloak in the process. Meanwhile, Garrett abandons the money. Shortly after, Willem arrives from his service and rushes to see Maria. Maria, occupied with caring for her own baby, opens up to Willem. However, her mood shifts to anger, and she attacks Willem when he reveals he has been to Africa. Despite the confrontation, Willem is relieved to find out that Maria has never cheated on him. Hearing the commotion, Cornelis becomes curious and overhears their argument, eventually learning the shocking truth. Sophia is having an affair with the painter, and the new baby is Willem and Maria's. The pain inflicted on Cornelis is unimaginable. No wife, and now, no baby. Garrett finally arrives, but he is very, very drunk and, unfortunately, without the package. The creditors, now leaving with threats, bring truly bad news. Maria, left with no choice, admits the whole truth to Cornelis. However, Cornelis, though initially unreactive, later writes, honoring Maria and Willem's marriage and giving his blessing for them to take the child. Cornelis forgives Maria and solemnly declares that the house of Sandvoort has fallen. In the letter, Cornelis also acknowledges his sins and how he treated Sophia. He relinquishes the house to Maria and Willem, with the condition that the child remains his heir, to avoid further embarrassment to Cornelis's name. Cornelis then departs for the Dutch East Indies. Meanwhile, Sophia has long gone, and to make matters worse, the tulip market bubble has finally burst. Jan, running after Sophia, spots her blue cloak and fears the worst, that she has drowned her. Following the government's ban on tulip trading, the market crashed, plunging people into poverty, and rendering once valuable products like tulips worthless. After an 8-year span, Jan persists in capturing Sophia on canvas while dwelling in the attic of Jan's house. The Mother Superior arrives to deliver news of a patron, which is the church, and offers a job to enhance the abbey's aesthetics through painting the murals. A queue of nuns arrives later. Looking down from the scaffold, Jan gazes downward, spotting Sophia in monastic attire. She has embraced convent life, and as their eyes meet, they exchange affectionate smiles. The Mother Superior seems to have noticed, or has planned, the unexpected reunion, as she smiles herself. Cornelis has found a new life and a family to love in the Dutch East Indies, although far from luxury. Maria and Willem's family has expanded, and Sophia has grown up. Despite these changes, the new family in the Sandvoort house still honors Cornelis. Maria also very much honors Sophia, thanking her that Maria can take care of her child without being ostracized and being subjected to poverty.